Fame, and obviously I'm very proud and very excited and honored to have been chosen. And it's not just me, but all the past world champions like Duran and Alexander Arguello and Sugar Ray Leonard and just all those guys. And I believe in this one, Sugar Shea Mosley is also being inducted. So it's going to be a nice class. It's going to be really nice.
Yeah, it sure is. And as I said, very well deserved. You had a great career. You fought everyone. You thought nobody.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I mean, win or lose, I was there to always give a good fight, great performance as much as I could. And it was I think what the public saw was just me giving my best, and that was just it was authentic.
It's what I respect in a fighter. Like, unfortunately, a lot of young fighters right now are trying to keep the undefeated record. But, back in the days, fighters like yourself.
So were we, we were trying to maintain that but, you still have to face the guy at that time. You want to see who the best is, I mean, I fought Mayweather when he was at his ultimate best. I fought Carlos Hernandez when he was at his best. I fought Morales when he was at his best. I mean, it was just, I ducked nobody. So it was about trying to prove yourself.
Yeah, and you just mentioned Mayweather. I just finished watching that fight all over again. And that was Pretty Boy. That wasn't Money Made. That was
that was Pretty Boy. That was Pretty Boy. That was when he was hungry. When he was hungry to be that money guy. So I fought a prime Mayweather. It was a great fight. I came out all swollen, but I mean I was still there. You couldn't get me out.
I want to talk a bit about that fight. It was a good performance from both of you guys, due to the fact that Mayweather hurt his hand. But you gave him a tough fight. You gave him some work. And, I was surprised at the end when I heard the scorecards. What were your thoughts when you heard the scorecards?
Well, I wasn't surprised. I knew that he was going to win there. It was to either knock him out or not. But I was expecting something like that, but I felt that if I just gave a good performance, it was going to help my career anyways. And it did. And I gained his respect. It wasn't like I just took a paycheck and fought him, I really did give my best, my all. And I was there, and, he took the knee, which is a beautiful thing to have on my record. It wasn't from a punch, but it was from one of his hands landing on my head. But I have a hard head.
Well, I was just going to talk about that knockdown because the replay doesn't show a punch. But prior to the knockdown, I should say, you landed a body shot.
Yes.
You landed a body shot, so that could have also been.
Yeah, it probably, was part of it, but then he landed that shot and he just winced, turned his back. I came with a left hook. If you probably study it, I mean, you could say, all right, he's turning his back and he's not continuing. The referee could have said, continue, but he turned his back. He took the knee, but he didn't actually put the glove on the canvas. And so he just went down, and obviously that was a knockdown, which was fine. But he did, I guess, land his hand on my head. But for him to say that it was broken and fractured, it wasn't. I mean, he was shaking hands right after the fight. I mean, it probably did hurt. I mean, he did have his hands swollen. I shook his hand after the fight, and but it's all good. I did what I did. It was a good fight. I put I think a hell of a performance I've gotten a lot of great reviews from a lot of the fighters that fought him after, saying they studied my fight to fight him, even though it still didn't work for them.
It almost worked for Jose Luis Castillo.
Yeah, and actually he was one of the guys that told me. He was actually one of the guys that told me that he studied that fight on how to beat Mayweather. And yeah, that first fight was very, very close, very suspect as well.
It was, but going back to the Mayweather fight, that knockdown brings up an interesting question I got for you. Tank Davis taking a knee against Roach. That kind of reminded me of that fight that just happened.
Yeah, totally. So that's a knockdown. And then he goes to the corner. That's disqualification. So, there was a lot of mistakes made in that fight for that reason. I mean, the mistake was he started counting, but then he stopped counting, the ref. He just looked very amateurish in that fight. Like maybe the fight hype was too much for him, and he froze. And it's understandable, I guess. He's human, but that was a big mistake on part of the ref.
It sure was. It was something I've never seen in boxing. I've been watching boxing for the longest time. Never ever seen that in my life.
And for him to walk to the corner, to go to the corner and have his face wiped, that's disqualification. That is, your corner cannot go up into the corner and wipe your face. That is illegal. I mean, who knows what he could put on that when he's wiping it. It could be some kind of deterrent for the other fighter. So I mean, it's very, very, very questionable all what happened. But at the end of the day, they decided that it was going to be a draw. But at least he didn't lose because I did think Roach did an excellent job on how to beat this guy.
Tank Davis.
Tank Davis,
Yeah. I got to go back to that Mayweather fight because I saw Mayweather talking a lot throughout the fight. What was he saying to you? Do you remember?
Yeah, you know what? I don't even know what he was saying. I don't recall. It was just, I really don't know. I was just so focused in what I had to do and trying to move side to side because I did work a lot. That was one of the key factors that we worked on that fight was because that was actually my first fight with Amica Brusa, and he's the guy that created Carlos Monzon. So he was old school, no mitts or hand pads, whatever. He was about just working on the bag, working and shadow boxing, and so it was about doing the things that we're going to do over and over again. And so the people who have studied my old trainer, you're not gonna guess who it is, but they studied him. They've worked under him like he was like a tutelage, right? And it was Canelo Alvarez's people, which is Reynosos. Those guys, they were always there. They really, really loved them. So I understand when Canelo fights and the things and the movements he does it's from the work from my trainer Amilcar Brusa on what he did. And so when I fought Mayweather, it was a lot about side to side movement, going forward, side to side, making a miss, and then trying to make him pay for it. And so according to Ring Magazine, I was the number 4 guy on the list that's landed the most shots out of all his opponents, the 50 opponents he has. I'm on the number 4 list of have landed the most on Mayweather.
Yeah, I did hear the commentators throughout the fight saying that you were doing a fantastic job at bobbing and weaving.
Yeah, and it was actually the late George Foreman, God rest his soul. He was giving me a lot of props. He was just like giving me so much praise, of this little guy going in there, trying to making a miss and making it a dogfight. And that's what I try to do, make it a dogfight.
Yeah, you landed a lot of body shots on Mayweather, I noticed.
Yeah, well, we were trying to. It's kind of hard just to open up and throw a really good, solid, like the Mexican people, how they leave themselves open sometimes, and you try to get that great body shot, that liver shot. But here, Mayweather has a great defense. I mean, it's about landing on his shoulders, his elbows. But it's dangerous as well, because if I land on his elbow, I could hurt my hand as well. So it's about trying to touch and find that and kind of like disguise my shots, because sometimes I would touch them, but then sometimes I'd really load up on it.
What happened with your injury? Like when I heard commentators saying, "Well, Carlos Hernandez has a big welt on his face." Well, I never saw. Was that a headbutt?
No, it was not a headbutt, and this is one of the things that we did discuss before the fight. There's the referee comes to the locker room and gives you the instructions of what's going to happen. This is before the fight, and we clearly told him, watch the elbows, because he does this a lot. He was doing this. He does this, but here he did that, and in the first round, he caught me with the elbow right smack right here in the temple. And after that, every touch, every jab, it started swelling up. So it was pretty bad. But at the end of the day, it wasn't going to deter me. It was just going to make me stronger and keep going forward.
Yeah, I noticed some rough tactics from Mayweather, especially, if I'm not mistaken, that third round was a war. You guys going back and forth, and you landing some hooks on Mayweather. I was surprised that Mayweather.
Yeah, and some uppercuts. I mean, I made him bleed from the nose. I made him bleed from the mouth. I gave him a nick. I was like, yeah, heck yeah. Who does that? Pacquiao didn't do it. I mean, all these big fighters, they didn't do it. But I was there. I made him bleed, and that was beautiful.
Were you surprised that Mayweather didn't go down? Because you hit him hard in that round.
Yeah, I know he was a strong guy. I know he's tough, and he's obviously one of the best ever. I wasn't surprised. I would have been surprised if he would have gone down, but I was not that I'm just knocking on myself. It's just his defense and the way he sways. It's kind of hard to really get a flush shot on him. And I think the only person that's given him a really, really good shot, I would Maidana has as well, but the best one was Sugar Shane Mosley on how he landed that overhand right and caught him and really wobbled Mayweather. That was, to me, the best punch Mayweather's ever had landed on him.
Yeah, it sure was. It was a surprise. Like, I remember the crowd jumping up and down.
Yeah. I was surprised myself.
But going back to this Mayweather fight, I got to ask you one more question about that fight, and that was the final round when this ref didn't even give you a warning, just deducted a point.
No, exactly. See, I fought in his hometown, and it was come on. They take a point away from me. I mean, geez, he was the one, so I was like, he was the one with the elbows and holding me, like measuring me. And so I measured him, and I get the point taken away. Come on, but at the end of the day, a year later, I was champion of the world.
Yeah. You became, I believe, IBF world champion.
Correct. So it was a great win, and it was great, a great time to have been in the same ring with one of the best, if not the best ever. And in my country, coming home after that fight, coming to El Salvador, the people received me like a champion. They saw that I was always going forward, that I was looking for the victory. And so it was like a block party, basically, a parade and all that. It was nice. The people there from El Salvador really admired the courage and the valiant that I chose when I fought Mayweather, instead of backing up, taking the knee, getting knocked out. Even though I could have stopped the fight or whatever because of the injury, I was there, man.
Yeah, and were you like the first world champion from El Salvador?
That's right. Yeah. I'm still the only one. So hopefully that'll change soon. I'm part of the boxing, the federation, the Amateur Boxing Federation. And so there's one guy that just turned pro that we have that has represented El Salvador at elite level. And he just missed going to the Olympics, but now he's turning pro. He's named Sam Contreras, and that kid, from he's Salvadorian, just like me, from LA, but the kid's gonna be excellent, man, and I see a bright future in that guy.
I wanted to ask you about Sammy because you're working with him, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, correct. I'm part of the team, part of the group, but I'm not his trainer. But I do give him some advice, some wisdom from the past, from all the years I've been doing it. He's more of a technical fighter, and I love the fact that the last time I saw him sparring was probably about a month ago, and he was sparring with Sergey Lipinets. Remember that guy?
Yeah.
Okay, my guy put a beautiful sparring session with him, man. It was weird. My guy's not even pro yet, so it was a beautiful display of boxing. So I see big things for this guy, Sammy Contreras Jr. in the future, God willing.
Yeah, I've been hearing about Sammy Contreras. How old is this kid right now?
19. No,
19.
Only 19 years old. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's good. That's good. Good work there with
Yeah, no, his father's done an excellent job. The father's also the president of the Boxing Federation in El Salvador. So he's doing good things, He's trying to implement boxing in El Salvador as a culture, as a cultural thing. Because like in Mexico, you have kids boxing from the small kids, and they're not afraid. The moms are like, "Vámonos, hijo, vamos." That's the Mexican culture. That's the Mexican way, and I love that. I want El Salvador to adopt something like that, because the mothers there are like, "Oh, my son, he's gonna get hit. Oh my God, come on, lady, that's boxing. You want him to win. He's gonna lose by you cradling him." I love that Mexican culture, and I want the Salvadorian culture to be something like that. It's like, vámonos, arriba, let's go, let's do it, beat his butt,
You grew up with Mexicans, so you know about the Mexicans. When it comes to boxing, they are one of the toughest, if not the toughest, in boxing.
Yeah, they sure are, man. I remember as a kid, I was 16 years old, sparring with the light heavyweight Mexican national champion, Carlos Hernandez, and just going to war, But he was my size. That's the thing. He was just like a big donut, and but it was about toughness back then, not about too much boxing and weaving. And my father saw that, and he didn't really want me to end up all banged up. So he put me into we went to a black neighborhood in Watts, California, called 108th Street and Broadway, and there I learned more of, I don't know, how to move and be a little mobile, be a little sharper, Then I was like the only Latino there, maybe one or two Latinos. Then everybody was black. It was like I was in a Rocky movie, like in Rocky 3. when he's when he goes with Apollo Creed and all the brothers are there. That's how it was, man. That's how it was. Ike Williams used to go there just to watch the guys train. I mean, I wish I would have had a camera phone, because he was an idol, man. He was a great legend. He was he was the lightweight champion of the world back in the day, back in the 50s. He would go to the gym. This guy, Ike Williams, he would go with all dressed up in a suit and just watch people train. That was like his life at the end. It was nice. It was nice to see. He was all dapper. He was great.
Speaking of Mexicans, talk to us about that fight with Genaro Hernandez.
Genaro Hernandez, yeah, though he was my mentor. At one time, it was I was one of his, if not his chief sparring partner for many years, and it was funny because not funny, but it was beautiful. Like about a month before he passed, he sent me a text saying, thanking me for all the sparring, because of me helping him. He stayed champion for many years, and that was beautiful. I tried to save it. I tried to save the text. It was just hard because I changed phones, I changed company, and I couldn't ever save it. But it was something I'll always keep. And for him to thank me that happened, his words, right? I may still have it. I may have saved it. Just thinking about it. But yeah, he was a mentor of mine, and we would do family events together. We were really close. We'd go barbecuing, jet skiing. It was we'd had good times with the family. And when I was ranked up there in the WBC, it was like my name came up if I wanted to fight him, and I was like, yeah, well, sure, heck yeah. I mean, I know he's my boy and all that, but damn, I don't really want to fight him, but business is business, and yeah, that's what it was. So it was, how they labeled the fight up to the fight, it was called Hernandez versus Hernandez is not a divorce. It was a really cool title, and it was great to face him, and he gave me a shot. He said, like, you know what, I'm going to give you a shot, and if I have to lose my title, I would love to lose it to you, but I'm not going to lose it. And exactly, that's what happened. He beat me. It was a good fight. I did try. I tried my best. But under the circumstances, it was a tough fight. He really adapted.